Imagine waking up at like 2 in the morning to a frantic text message, right? Your rental unit's water heater has just completely exploded.
Oh, the classic property management nightmare.
Exactly. But by the time your eyes actually adjust to the screen, a plumber has already been dispatched.
Wow.
Yeah, your tenant has been notified with the temporary smart lock code, and the insurance claim documentation has already been drafted. You literally didn't lift a single finger.
I mean, that is the holy grail of physical asset management, really.
Right. And today, we are looking at the technology that is attempting to make that hyper-automated scenario a reality.
Because, we've had automation in the digital realm for years, but the physical world is, well, it's incredibly messy. It is completely unpredictable.
Which is exactly why today's deep dive is so fascinating. Whether you're a seasoned property manager with, 50 doors, or just a curious learner trying to understand the future of real estate and automation, you are definitely going to want to hear this.
It's a really interesting shift in how we handle physical assets.
It really is. So we're looking at a stack of platform specs, product dashboards, and feature breakdowns from a company called Rentari.ai.
Right.
They are pitching themselves as an all-in-one AI automation native property management software.
That's a mouthful, but yeah, that's the goal.
And the core mission we want to explore today is how artificial intelligence is actually bridging that gap. Like, how does an AI platform run a physical building without breaking the law, without losing your money, or, completely alienating your tenants?
Right. Those are the big three risks.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this.
So to really understand how Rentari operates, we have to look at how they structure their artificial intelligence, because they don't just unleash one massive generic AI brain onto your property portfolio.
Thank goodness. That sounds terrifying.
Right. The source material shows they actually divide the cognitive labor among three highly specialized, distinct AI personas.
Okay, so instead of just reading off a list of features, let's look at how this actually works in the real world.
Sure, let's trace the life cycle of a hypothetical tenant.
Yeah, we'll call him Alex.
Okay, Alex.
So Alex is scrolling Zillow at midnight, and he sees your duplex. He shoots over a message asking, if the deposit is refundable and if he can bring his golden retriever.
And normally you'd wake up to that email along with 10 others just like it across apartments.com and Facebook.
Exactly. But here, the first AI specialist steps in. Her name is Iris, and she is basically the leasing agent.
Right.
Iris pulls all those inquiries into one unified inbox and replies to Alex instantly.
What's really fascinating here is the technical boundary they place on Iris. Because in the broader world of AI, the biggest risk is something called a hallucination.
Oh, right, where the AI just makes things up.
Exactly. That is when a large language model doesn't know the answer, so it just confidently invents one.
Which is bad.
Very bad. In real estate, if your AI hallucinated and told Alex that parking is free when it actually costs, $100 a month, you have a massive liability problem.
You've essentially created a verbal contract, right?
Precisely. So to prevent that, the specs emphasize that Iris is strictly grounded.
Grounded. Okay, meaning what exactly?
Meaning she drafts replies based only on the factual parameters of your specific listing. If the answer isn't in the listing data, she doesn't guess.
Well, that's smart. She just sticks to the facts.
Right. She just accurately conveys the facts, pre-qualifies Alex based on his income, and automatically books a tour on your calendar.
Okay, so now Alex has toured the place and he wants to apply. This is where the workflow transitions to the second specialist, right?
Yes. The second specialist is Mozart. Mozart is the property co-pilot, really the core operator of the back end.
And the interface is completely conversational, which is wild. You don't click through 10 different drop-down menus.
Oh, not at all.
You just type a plain English command into the dashboard. Something like, lease unit 4B to Alex and start rent on the 1st. And you hit enter.
And the mechanism behind that single prompt is just a masterclass in workflow automation. Mozart understands the intent and builds a multi-step operational staircase.
A multi-step staircase. I like that.
Yeah, to execute that lease, Mozart knows it needs to query the database, generate a state-compliant lease document, create a new tenant ledger, send the document to Alex for a secure e-signature, and finally schedule the first automated rent charge.
Wow. From one sentence.
Exactly. It orchestrates all of those independent tasks from one single command.
Which brings us to the third specialist. So Alex signs the lease, he moves in, and 2 weeks later, he totally forgets the gate code.
Happens all the time.
Right. So he texts the property line at 11:00 p.m. Here enters Luna.
Luna.
Luna is the tenant assistant. She operates via app chat or a live phone line, speaks multiple languages including Spanish, and she handles the tenant directly. But just like Iris, she has those strict algorithmic boundaries.
Right, Luna is tethered directly to Alice's signed lease.
So she's reading his actual contract.
Exactly. When he asks for the gate code, or say, asks what the penalty is for late rent, she parses the actual legal document he signed and extracts the exact answer.
That creates a really consistent experience.
It creates an incredibly consistent 247 tenant experience while completely shielding the human landlord from just the day-to-day barrage of repetitive questions.
Okay, hold on. Let me stop you right there.
Sure.
Because I hear multi-step operational staircase and I immediately get nervous.
I don't blame you.
I mean, if I tell Mozart to just lease unit 4B, what stops this algorithm from going completely rogue? I wouldn't trust a human intern to generate legally binding contracts without me breathing down their neck.
That is a very valid concern.
We are talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars of physical assets here. What stops the system from drafting a terrible, non-compliant lease or just handing the digital keys over to a known scammer completely on its own?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the developers of Rentari anticipated that exact hesitation.
They must have, right?
Oh, definitely. The fear of the black box, this idea of an AI making catastrophic autonomous decisions in the dark, is literally the single biggest barrier to entry in property tech. So they engineered the platform around a foundational operating philosophy. AI proposes, you approve.
Oh, I see. So it's sort of like a self-driving car on the highway.
That's a great way to think about
Like the car can accelerate, it can change lanes, it can monitor traffic. But the moment you take your hands off the wheel, or in this case, the moment you refuse to click approve, the car safely pulls over.
That is a perfect analogy. The system operates strictly on a human-in-the-loop framework. There is zero ghost running.
Ghost running,
That's
meaning it doing stuff without you knowing.
Right. Nothing is executed in the dark. It is a massive psychological shift for the user. You are transitioning from being the author of every single action to becoming the editor.
And they actually give you 3 distinct pilot modes to manage this transition, right? Because they know landlords have different risk tolerances.
Exactly. The default setting is called Copilot.
Okay, co-pilot.
In this mode, the AI drafts literally everything for you. It writes the listing copy, it calculates the late fees, it preps the maintenance notices. But absolutely nothing is sent, signed, or charged until you log in, review the work, and physically tap the approve button.
So it's the ultimate safety net.
Yes. But once you realize the AI isn't hallucinating free parking, you build trust. That's when you graduate to the second mode, mixed.
And mixed is where the workflow gets dynamic, right?
Exactly. Routine, low-risk tasks, like sending a standard 3-day reminder for rent, just run automatically in the background.
Because you don't need to approve a text message every single month.
Right. But if there's a massive judgment call, say a $2,400 bid for a roof repair, the AI hits the brakes, pauses the workflow, and waits for your human eyes to make the call.
And then for the highly experienced operators who have fully dialed in their parameters, there is autopilot.
Yes, autopilot. The AI handles the day-to-day operations entirely within the strict rules you've previously defined.
So you're not getting notifications all day.
Exactly. Instead of pinging your phone all day, it just sends you a consolidated overnight digest of what it accomplished while you were sleeping.
But, and this is a massive safeguard, it doesn't matter if you had the dial turned all the way up to autopilot. The architecture has ultimate fail-safes hard-coded into it.
This is a really important point.
Right. There are 3 specific actions that always pause and demand manual human approval no matter what. Those are evictions, any refunds or money going out the door, and absolutely anything that a tenant or a vendor has to legally sign.
The AI simply cannot execute those actions without your literal fingerprint on the process.
It's brilliant because it acknowledges that trust in automation has to be earned incrementally. By giving users this sliding scale from Copilot up to autopilot, you turn a terrifying technological leap into a highly manageable, structured transition.
Right, you're not just flipping a switch and hoping for the best.
All right, so we know the AI is safely leashed to the dashboard. But what happens when digital automation crashes into physical reality?
This is where it gets really fun.
Yeah. If we trust the system, let's look at the 3 biggest headaches in property management. Fixing broken things, navigating the law, and collecting the money.
The big 3.
Let's go back to Alex. Let's say the pipe under Alex's sink bursts.
This is where their visual damage ID feature really flexes its muscles. Usually, a tenant tries to describe a leak over the phone, and it's a giant game of telephone.
There's water everywhere.
Exactly. Here, Alex just snaps a photo in the Rentari app.
And the AI doesn't just log the photo as a, generic maintenance ticket. It actually uses computer vision to parse the image.
Right. It doesn't just see a puddle.
Exactly. It recognizes that the leak is coming from a cracked 1.5-inch PVC P-trap.
Which is incredibly specific.
It assesses the severity, and then, this is the crazy part, it queries a database of local hardware store APIs for the part cost, cross-references that with regional hourly plumbing rates, and generates an immediate repair cost estimate for you.
And once it calculates the estimate, it dives into a directory of pre-vetted vendors and suggests the right plumber based on their past performance scores.
And because the platform utilizes an IoT hub, which, if you aren't familiar, stands for Internet of Things, basically acting as a central nervous system for all the smart devices in the building, once you approve that plumber, the AI talks directly to the building's smart lock.
This is the feature that saves so much time.
It really does. It generates a temporary 4-hour PIN code specifically for the plumber. They get in, fix the pipe, the code expires, and you never had to drive 20 minutes across town just to turn a deadbolt.
Now, a crucial detail from the specs here. If Alex calls the Luna phone line with a life safety emergency, like he smells gas or there's an active fire, the AI detects the urgency in his voice instantly.
Oh, wow.
It does not wait for you to wake up and approve a ticket. It steers the call directly to 911.
That is incredible liability protection.
It really is a game changer for safety.
Which perfectly transitions us into the second major headache, the law. Because bad maintenance eventually leads to lawsuits, which means your leases need to be ironclad.
Navigating state-specific real estate law is an absolute nightmare.
It is. Because what is perfectly legal to put in a lease in Texas might get you sued in California.
Right. Rentari handles this by generating legally binding state-specific leases in about 2 minutes. But they go a step further with something called the AI lease audit.
Right. So before you send that links out for Alex to sign, the AI pre-flights the entire document. It actively flags risky clauses.
Like if you make a mistake on the deposit amount.
Exactly. If your state caps security deposits at 1 month's rent, and you accidentally typed in 2 months,
Right.
the AI catches it and flags it as a statutory violation.
It's acting as a real-time compliance officer, and it sustains that compliance using a live legislation watch.
Oh, I saw that. It's constantly scanning the laws.
Yes. It is constantly scraping and reading daily updates to state and local statutes. So if your specific city council suddenly changes the required notice period for a rent increase from 30 days to 60 days, the system knows before you do and updates all your future templates automatically.
That is huge. Okay, so the pipes are fixed and the lawyers are happy. Let's talk about the lifeblood of the whole operation. The money.
The most important part.
Good leases ensure you get paid. The smart rent collection system features auto-pay, but what's crucial is how it moves the funds.
It uses ACH transfers, which is just a direct digital bank-to-bank transfer, like when your employer direct deposits your paycheck or uses credit cards. And as that money moves, it instantly syncs to an auto-accounting ledger.
The books essentially reconcile themselves in real time.
Exactly.
It tracks late fees automatically, and if Alex falls behind, the AI can even generate structured catch-up payment plans. But here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, the partial payment trap.
Yes. If you manage properties, you already know the absolute nightmare of the partial payment loophole. Let's say you have a tenant who hasn't paid rent in 2 months. You've hired a lawyer and started the formal eviction process.
A stressful situation.
Very. Now, that tenant knows that in many jurisdictions, if they just log into the portal and pay even $1 single of partial rent, accepting that dollar legally resets the entire eviction clock back to 0.
It's a highly specific, very dangerous operational trap.
So how does a mindless automated system handle that kind of tactical legal maneuvering?
Well, the source material addresses this directly. The platform has a specialized toggle specifically designed to block partial payments.
So you just flip a switch.
Yep. If you flip that toggle, the system will unequivocally reject anything less than the exact full balance due.
Oh.
This demonstrates that Rentari isn't just, a tech company building sleek web design.
Right, they actually understand the business.
They possess a deep structural understanding of state-level real estate strategy.
It automatically protects your legal standing. And all of this meticulous automated tracking culminates in what might be the biggest quality of life feature in the whole stack.
Tax time.
Yes. At the end of the year, at tax time. Instead of spending an entire weekend crying over a shoebox full of faded hardware store receipts, you click one button.
Just one button.
The AI spits out a fully reconciled Schedule E tax document, totally prepped for your CPA. It even uses its computer vision to scan any physical receipts you upload and categorizes them into the correct tax brackets.
The sheer number of hours saved by that single feature is staggering. But naturally, when you outline enterprise-level workflow automation, live legal compliance engines, and computer vision maintenance tech, it prompts a very specific assumption.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sitting here basically waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Right.
You hear all of this and you think, okay, this sounds incredible, which means it either costs an absolute fortune or they are subsidizing the software by taking all of my tenants' sensitive financial data and selling it to third-party data brokers.
It's a fair assumption to make.
But let's look at the actual business model, because the pricing structure is honestly surprising.
It's a flat fee model, deliberately built to be one of the lowest cost all-in-one tools on the market. They actually offer a free forever basic tier.
Free forever.
Yeah, you can list unlimited properties, capture leads through Iris, and screen tenants without paying a dime. The applicant simply pays the standard background check fee at checkout.
Right, so you only start paying when you actually want the AI to run the physical operations.
Exactly.
The Prime tier, which unlocks Mozart, the accounting ledgers, the automated leases, starts at just $8 a month if billed annually. That's $96 a year, and that covers up to 5 units.
And for context, legacy property management software often requires hefty monthly minimums, plus per unit charges, plus nickel and dime add-on fees for every little feature you want to activate.
It adds up fast.
It really does. Rentari scales at just $1.60 per extra unit once you cross that 5-unit threshold.
And the sources heavily emphasize that there are 0 hidden fees, there is no per-lease fee every time Mozart generates a contract, there are no per-application platform fees for the landlord.
Which is huge.
And critically, there is 0 Rentari markup on the rent collection itself. If Alex pays via that ACH bank transfer we mentioned, Stripe's processing fee is simply split 50-50. It comes out to about $2.50 for the landlord and $2.50 for the tenant.
Very reasonable.
Right. And if he uses a credit card, the landlord's share is strictly capped at $5, and the tenant covers the rest for the convenience.
This raises an important question, though. At just $8 a month with, no hidden transaction fees, how are they protecting the incredibly sensitive data flowing through this platform?
Right, because that data is valuable.
We are talking about social security numbers, bank routing information, criminal background checks. That is an absolute goldmine for data brokers.
I went looking for exactly that in the security specs, because if the product is practically free, usually you are the product. But they explicitly state they are a software provider, not a data broker. They absolutely do not sell property data or tenant lists. For security, everything uses bank-grade tokenization.
And for those who might not know, tokenization is a brilliant security measure. Think of it like giving a valet a temporary digital key that only turns on the engine once to park the car, rather than handing them your actual master key.
That's a perfect way to explain it.
The system replaces sensitive data with a temporary, meaningless string of letters and numbers, so the actual data is never sitting exposed on a server.
Exactly. And the way they handle the tenant screening itself uses this principle. The background checks and social security numbers go through a provider accredited by the FCRA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act.
Which functionally means that as a landlord, you never actually see Alex's raw social security number or his bank routing digits.
You never see it.
Instead, the AI processes all that highly sensitive background data in a secure vault and simply outputs a trust score from 0 to 100, along with a clear recommendation and the reasons why.
It completely removed the massive liability of a landlord having to securely store raw, unencrypted social security numbers on their personal MacBook.
It's a huge relief.
It protects the tenant's privacy while simultaneously protecting the landlord from data breach liability.
So, if we zoom out and look at all these sources collectively, the AI staff, the human-in-the-loop fail-safes, the daily operational automation, and the privacy architecture, the central claim Rentari makes is that this platform reduces a landlord's hands-on management time by 60 to 80%.
Let's just pause and think about that. Giving someone 80% of their operational week back fundamentally changes the scalability of a real estate portfolio.
It changes the whole game.
Historically, if you owned 5 units, you had a stressful part-time job. If you owned 50 units, you needed to hire full-time salaried staff. But by shifting the human role from execution to oversight, from author to editor, the operational friction of adding that 6th or 20th or 100th door drops dramatically.
The barrier to entry for managing physical assets is being radically lowered. You don't need a massive back office team anymore. You just need the discipline to set your rules, review the AI's logic, and tap approve.
So what does this all mean? Well, whether you have a single condo you are renting out to cover your mortgage, or an empire of apartment buildings across 3 states, the fundamental nature of how we interact with the physical world of real estate is shifting.
It really is.
The messy, unpredictable 2.00 AM realities are being digitized and smoothed out by intelligent systems.
It does leave us with a fascinating and perhaps slightly profound implication to consider.
Oh.
We started this deep dive talking about the dream of passive income versus the messy reality of property management. The
Right.
plumbing emergencies, the late rent, the legal friction.
And all the headaches.
Right. But if an AI system can eventually handle all of those day-to-day operations seamlessly, if it knows the structural health, the legal compliance, and the financial metrics of your building better than you ever could, does the traditional role of a landlord cease to exist entirely? At what point do you stop being a property manager dealing with people and pipes and courtrooms and transition into simply being an algorithmic investor whose financial dashboard just happens to be attached to a physical roof and walls? It's something to think about the next time your phone doesn't ring in the middle of the night.